Welcome to Sprint 9 of the HelloDBP demo. And in this sprint, we extend digital event services further and consume those events from Apama on where we'll do streaming analytics and republish aggregated higher value events back as digital event services.
That's great, Jay. Got the security officer off my back, so now we can get into some real interesting stuff. Now, one of the things that we've seen with the data coming from our things is that just a low indication of health does not necessarily mean there's a problem. So we need to have something a lot smarter to be able to figure out whether we do have a problem. Exceptional changes in the thing health, we need to monitor that in real time. And can we then try and detect when there is an issue with one of our things? How would we do that?
Well, we saw a little bit of what we could do in Cumulosity. But there's actually a more comprehensive capability to do that in the digital business platform. This product called Apama is custom fit for exactly this purpose. And it's not just the one thing event like the health of the thing. You might correlate many different events from different sensors, and together they may form a pattern. And you can't do that just in Cumulosity with the simple smart rules. So let's see how to do that in Apama. And so for this example, let's go ahead and create a brand new Apama project from scratch. We'll make sure to point it to Digital Event Services. We'll do a little tiny EPL script as the main program. And then we'll show the UI for building a query, a drag and drop kind of query to do a very simple condition that if the certain pattern of events happens, then we're going to create an alert. So let's go ahead and jump over, and then we're going to just show it running.
Sprint timer starting now.
And this time we're going to not build everything from scratch. We're going to build the Apama from scratch, but we're going to use the events from the full HelloDBP. So just keep that in mind.
We've exactly. So there's an event there that we've already seen, which is the HelloDBP event, or the thing event. But we also want to generate alerts. So Jay's previously created another event type called thing alert. So he's going to create now an Apama project. There we go.
Digital Event Services is checked.
Exactly. So digital event services check, because that's of course what we're using as the source. There you go. How we're using query, which is the graphical way of constructing.
But first, we're going to select the digital event types that we're
exactly
interested in. So this one is the HelloDBP. Now we're not interested in this one. We're going to pick these two that are already from the oven. Okay. And whenever I say save now, it automatically generates these EPL events. And now I'm going to build that little monitor file.
So right. So what this monitor is going to be doing is this is a little bridge that's going to take those events from the digital events, and it's now going to, let's say, push them into the Apama correlator, where we could then start to execute queries on them. Now, while Jay is doing this, let me explain a little bit of what Apama does. So if you think of a database, you have data at rest, and then you fire queries at that to get subsets of that data out. Apama is the other way around. You have the query is there all the time, and then you fire data at it, and it's then going to look for patterns in that data and then emit new events when things match the queries that are sort of running all the time. So this little bit of code here is just going to push that these events that it's receiving, the thing event, into Apama queries, so directly into the query engine. And that's the only little bit of boilerplate code that was needed to be able to do that.
And we didn't talk about that alert.
I did mention the alert, yes. Okay. I mentioned the alert that you had a separate doc type, and this is what we're going to emit when we recognize a particular pattern.
So let's build a new query. A new query file.
Right. Now this is, again, just like a lot of the DBP tooling, this is graphical drag and drop. So, and there are many ways to program Apama. You can write EPL code, but this is then a sort of an easier way of doing it. Now, what you see here, we're going to pick the thing event as being the event type that we're looking at within a particular time window. So there'll be events flowing through the system, and we're looking for multiple events within a 10-second window. But of course, we will have events for different things. So we're always looking for things matching the same ID. So multiple events with the same ID within 10 seconds, and then in this case, where one event is followed by another event, there could be any number of them, but one event followed by another event, and then like a where clause, just like you would get in a query. And in this case, that where clause is saying where the health, let's say, of the first event minus the health of the second event is more than half of the first event. In other words, that the health is reduced by more than half. So if it goes from 80 to 60, an event with 80 followed by an event with 60, it would not fire, would not match that. But if you have an event with 80 followed by an event of 30, within 10 seconds of each other, that's an indication that the health is deteriorating too fast. Now, what we're doing here, we've got an action, and in this case, we're going to send the thing alert, and we've got a bit of text within that saying the thing and the name may be unhealthy, and that's going to go to the thing alert channel. So you'll have a whole stream of events coming in, but only if that condition is matched to events with a reduction of more than 50% within 10 seconds, then Apama will emit onto digital event services an alert event saying that there is a potential issue, and of course that's now a higher value event that we can now take action on. So he's now running the Apama correlator, the Apama engine, inside of Designer, because that's just nice and easy when you're writing code for testing.
And let's do that event console. Remember that event console that we had before? I'm going to make sure that we're listening to those events. We're going to run one of those consoles. So we're going to see back and forth because this correlator is running inside Designer. It's emitting events, or sorry, it's putting things to the log every 5 seconds, and it wants to show me because it thinks it's really important. So it's going to switch the screen. If I happen to be looking at the console, it'll switch it to this other one. So we got to let's track what's happening, and then I'm going to send some events. I'm going to switch back to, remember that one that said send update event. Where's that one? We're going to do that from Service Designer. Okay, so under LOIS, I'm going to update thing. You remember we did that one? And do you still remember the ID of that thing? Is it 95209? Is that, or 92509? Let me switch that. Yeah. Let's look at the results. And that's as soon as I click it, 92509. Okay, good. And then, so let's update that thing. So we're going to say.
Okay, sprint time's up, but we're in the demo anyway. So that's fine.
Yep. So I'm going to not put a thing there, and then I'm going to say the health is 100. And it doesn't matter about the account because now we're only watching the health of the thing. So I'm going to send 2 in a row, and I'm going to trigger the alert really fast. So I'm going to send 100, and then I'm going to send 40. Okay, and yes. So I'm going to stop this right. Well, actually, I'm not going to stop it. You can see in here that if I switch over to the other console, where's that other console? The event console, this one. Then every 5 seconds it switches back, so it's hard to tell. But there is an alert over there on this one. You can see it right there, thing alert. So it actually gets there, and then this is going to switch back. So let's go ahead and try it again, the negative case, where we say it's 100. And then we can see that it had that event here. And then let's wait a few seconds, and we'll send another one that is outside the 10-second window. So if I send it again, and now I send 40, it should not trigger the alert because it went beyond the window. And switch over to the console.
So you get the 40, yep, you don't see the thing alert at all?
Yeah, but I didn't get the alert, right? So the other thing I can do is I'll do it really fast. I'll do it within 10 seconds, but I'm going to change the ID. So this will be 100. And I'll do it really fast and make it 40, but I'm going to also change this to make it 8, and this shouldn't work. So it didn't have an alert. So I'm going to stop this right now just to make sure that it did generate an alert at the beginning, and then we had all these other events, and it did not generate an alert. Okay, so we're going to be using this in the back, and you just saw us running the from within Designer, but it's not very convenient because it's basically it hogs the console here, and it wants to show that all the time. And so what I'm going to do is run that same thing from Command Central. You can configure it to be a runtime, and if I just turn this on, then it's that same application, but I'm running it and starting it from a separate process from Command Central. So I'm just going to start that, and it'll be running. So now we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to look at logs or anything. It'll just start running, and then we can take advantage of these alerts. Now we have two streams of events. We have the events, thing events, and we have thing alerts that happen if there's a certain pattern.
Okay, let's go and review where we are. So we now had those events that were being emitted by integration server and the data coming from our devices through the APIs, and we now had Apama consuming those events, processing them, detecting patterns within that, and then emitting another event back to the event bus, back to universal messaging. And of course, similarly, you could have those things configured to go to the event store in exactly the same way. We're not going to show that now, but because that DES layer is common across all of the components, that would be an option as well.